Hey guys, welcome back. Thought I'd bring you up to this very special spot. This is Cal Lake behind me, or sorry, Calamelca Lake for those of you that aren't familiar, which I'm sure many of you aren't. It means lake of many colors in the native language, the local natives of the area, First Nations. Uh, the Okanagan people is what they are called, and Calamelca means lake of many colors. So I thought I'd come up here to this very special spot and just make a little video. I wanted to speak a little bit about Bitcoin and what's been going on in the Bitcoin market. Pretty exciting time. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit like on the video, share it with some friends and family. And with that being said, I'll get right into it. So I wanted to talk about Bitcoin coming up on all-time highs again here. Pretty exciting times. It did so really quietly this time. It really wasn't in mainstream media. There hasn't been as much hype as there was in 2017, and there hasn't been all that kind of frantic buying and all the people kind of rushing to get into it. It's been kind of pretty quiet on the sidelines. So to me, that shows market maturity, and we've seen in this recent bull run, a lot of the kind of bigger money and institutional money has been coming into the space, which is exciting. So we're seeing a lot of the hedge funds buy in, and a lot of the bigger banks and publicly traded companies, that kind of stuff. So it's really showing that the general perception of what Bitcoin is starting to change amongst kind of the institutional type and the general public. So I think this is going to be the start of another major leg up. Of course, I think it will be, quite a ride on the way up. I think we'll probably have some big corrections and stuff on the way up, but I do think we're heading much higher, and that's quite exciting. So we shall see how that all plays out, and definitely a time to be keeping an eye on these markets as people kind of wake up to what's going on in traditional markets as these governments continue to debase our currencies and to destroy the purchasing power of our money. More and more people will start to just wonder why things are getting so expensive. And of course, that will lead them down the rabbit hole of currency debasement and inflation and money printing and basically counterfeiting of the currency by the centralized authority, which leaves people looking for a solution or an alternative. And what many come to realize is that Bitcoin has a different monetary policy where the inflation is actually set in stone. It's part of the Bitcoin protocol that cannot be changed. It's set into the computer code of the network itself. So it can't be altered by a centralized authority or individual. They can't just come in and decide that they're going to debase the value or the purchasing power of your currency. So that's why many people love Bitcoin and why people are choosing to own Bitcoin now, because it's a hedge against these just absolutely absurd monetary policies that are being carried out by our governments. So Bitcoin offers a major solution to that, where we know its monetary policy, it's set in stone, it can't be changed, and it has a set inflation level that is constantly being decreased, so it's disinflationary, and that means that as time moves forward, there's less and less Bitcoin coming onto the market, and that, of course, if you know supply and demand, that means that if the demand increases and supply is decreasing, of course, that puts a lot of upward pressure on the price. And so this is what makes Bitcoin so attractive in this current market environment. And it's really the hardest money ever created in the history of mankind. And when I say hard money, I mean it's really hard to create Bitcoin. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of computing power, and there's no way for another entity to come in and create that currency. It's just physically impossible. So that is what makes it really valuable and scarce. It's absolutely scarce. It's the first time we've seen an asset that is absolutely scarce. There's only going to be 21 million, and past that 21 million, there's no possible way to create more of that currency. So that in this current market environment where all of the governments are printing the currencies into oblivion and counterfeiting the money so that they can come in and buy up all of the businesses and the homes and the assets and the stock market and all of that. Well, Bitcoin offers an alternative, and it really levels the playing field, and it's honest money in the sense that you can't just counterfeit it. You actually have to come and trade something of value for it. So that is really a game changer. If you've looked at kind of the history of money and what makes money valuable, where what makes the perfect money, and it Bitcoin has pretty much all of the properties that make up a good money, and that's I'm trying to think of them all right now. So divisibility, it doesn't tarnish, it can be easily transferred, it can be um, easily stored, portability, all of these kind of things. So Bitcoin actually has a lot of advantage even over gold and when we look at what makes a good money. So if we look at that and we look at how we're moving forward into this extremely digital world where more and more of us are locked down and doing business online and all of that, well, when we're moving into such a digital world, of course, it only makes sense that our currency will become digital. And when you're looking at which digital currency to buy and hold, well, the best way to make that decision is to look at the monetary policy of that currency that you're choosing to hold. You're not going to If you know about money, you're not going to consciously choose a money that is being debased at just unbelievable levels where the currency is continually getting its value or purchasing power is continually getting cut in half. Why would you do that when you could choose a currency that's actually going the other way? So this is why I think many are going to wake up to what Bitcoin really is, and they're going to be forced at some point to learn about it. A lot of people are choosing to have their head in the sand at this time. They, for whatever reason, I think really a lot of it is people are upset that they didn't get in earlier. I know that happened with me. I initially almost bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin when it was back at $7, and I would have been a really wealthy man now if I had done that. But I didn't. I chose not to, and I watched the price go up and up and up. And I know that feeling of kind of resentment and wishing you had made that decision. And so a lot of people will just write it off and think it's too late to get in and they missed it, and then they just kind of hate on Bitcoin because they don't want to admit that they were wrong or for whatever reason. But I think as moving forward, as the price continually increases and these other currencies continually debase, more and more people will be forced to take a second look at it. And I really don't think it's too late. I still think we're so early to the game. We're just starting to see the institutional money come in, the very start of it. And to me, that's almost a better point to buy in than when it was only say $5,000. It really shows the market that is maturing. It's showing that a lot bigger names and organizations are buying it, which shows kind of the level of confidence that you'd like to see in an asset. So really, you're not taking as much risk buying in at this point as you were, say, 5 or 10 years ago when Bitcoin was first getting started. So to me, I still think we're very early on in this market. And of course, there's always that argument about the price volatility, but you can't have an asset that is in price discovery. You can't have it increasing in value without the volatility. That's just an inherent feature of an asset that is in price discovery and is increasing in value. So of course you can't have those big gains without the price volatility. So that's just part of the game when we're looking at the price discovery of Bitcoin, and that's probably going to be the case for the next 5 or 10 years as kind of all these people look for alternatives to get out of these currencies that are being destroyed. So with that being said, I'm going to leave the video at that. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or comments and stuff you want to hear about in the future. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this backdrop, and I'll see you in the next video.